For step one of the process, we chose to create a Microsoft form to meet the requirements of allowing staff to create their own personalised work plans. The form will create a unique request ID on submission, and each request can be assigned an owner. You can then select a work type from a defined drop-down and give it a unique description with free text. The form allows users to put in a planned start date and break down the steps required for the activity with a planned duration. The steps can also be assigned an individual owner, which then allows for tracking of individuals' work capacity. Using Microsoft Form means all employees can input request data without having access to the output, so people can't accidentally alter other people's requests. We then set up a Power Automate flow to ensure that the Excel would update automatically each time a new activity request is raised via Microsoft Forms. The Excel is then formulated to take the live data and use the planned start date and step durations to calculate planned start dates for each of the individual steps. These planned starts will then be used as forecast start dates until progress is updated on the Power App.
With the Microsoft Form elements of the challenge complete, we then moved on to creating the Progress Pathway Planner app using PowerApps. On the screen, you'll see the home page to the app. Our thoughts behind creating this app were to allow the manager or designated user the functionality to create new requests or update existing requests. When clicking on the New Request button in the home page of the app, via a URL link, this takes the user to the Progress Pathway Planner Microsoft form as shown earlier. This allows them to complete their own request form so that it is updated and submitted to the ultimate download Excel file. Also on the home page, there is a button to update existing request. When clicked, this takes the user to a new page on the app, which as seen on the screen, contains a vertical gallery, which is a download from the Excel file output from Microsoft Forms and shows all the current requests to date. Some of the functionality we added onto this was a highlight function that when clicking down the list of the current requests, shows the users which request they are about to edit. This stops any confusion or editing the wrong item. Also on this page, we created a search function so that as the number of requests increases to a more unmanageable level, it allows the user to search based on the ID number to pinpoint the actual request that they want to edit. Also on the home page, on this page is a home button, which takes the user back to the home page of the app. When clicking on one of the current requests and clicking the View button, this takes the user to a new page within the app. On this page is a download of all the data from that particular request. The majority of this data is visible only, as we don't want the user to be able to edit this, as the planned completion is set by the request made through the Microsoft form, and the forecast completion is calculated based on the durations and information submitted. The items that can be edited are the actual completion dates, which allows, as the request progresses, the user to input whether the various steps have met, are behind, or are ahead of their actual planned completion dates. This is done through a drop-down calendar, which allows the user to select the date upon which that particular step of the request was completed. This can be done for all steps, but in reality will be done as each step is completed. Also on this page, at the bottom, there is an email and timestamp element. This has been included for audibility so that each time a request is updated, you're able to see who the user was and at what time this was updated. In terms of the functionality of the app overall, we've tried to make it soft on the eye with some lighter colours. We've tried to include bolded items within the data provided to clearly distinguish between headings and actual data. And then also when submitting the request, we've included this extra layer of auditing where a pop-up box is produced to alert the user that they are about to update this record. Clicking no takes the user back to the page. Clicking yes updates, the overall output Excel file, which is downloaded from Microsoft Forms and populates the subsequent cells within that Excel file.
Once requests were generated via the Forms link or amended via the Power App, we've transformed the data collected in the Excel to calculate the forecast completion date for each step and also various percent completes of the steps. An example of a formula we used was calculating the forecast completion date. To do this calculation, we needed to ensure that either the actual completion date of the previous step, or if that step was not complete, the planned completion date of that step was used in conjunction with the duration of the next step to calculate the forecast completion of that step. For actual/forecast completion, we opted to visualize the variances in planned against actual and forecast dates by conditionally formatting the values in the table to show movements to the left or no movements as green and movements to the right as red. If we had more time, we would focus our efforts on visualizing the data in a graph format rather than a table.
To allow for capacity and resource monitoring, a Power BI dashboard can be linked to the live Excel sheet so that new request data can be pulled in each time a new form is submitted. A calculated column was required to pull out the durations of the individual step owners, and then DAX measures were used to get the total days of work per employee and also used to create capacity usage percentages. We use conditional formatting to flag any activity owners that are over 95% capacity. We use Microsoft Forms as it is accessible to everyone, and PowerApps is only accessible to those with licenses.